Aim: to assess the implications of non-participation or incomplete participation in research into treatment adherence for adolescents with diabetes. Methodology: a total of 94 families, parents plus adolescents, were asked to take part in the study. 80 originally consented, but only 52 completed the study. The adolescents were between the ages of 11 and 18, had a diagnosis of diabetes for over a year, and did not have any additional illness or developmental delay. They were recruited through a clinic for monitoring their diabetes. The adolescents completed a semi-structured, clinical interview using the Adherence and IDDM questionnaire. This assessed the adolescents' adherence to their treatment and included diet, glucose testing and preparedness for hypoglycemia. The questionnaire provided quantitative data. The other measurements used for the adolescents included the number of blood sugar tests used, monitored electronically through a reflectance meter, metabolic control, as measured at the clinic every time they attended. The parents then completed a questionnaire asking for demographic data about the whole family group such as family background, age, ethnicity, how long they had diabetes for, and parental educational background. After completion of the interview, the family were then given a packet of questionnaires with a prepaid return envelope to take home to complete a 30-minute questionnaire for the parents concerning their relationship with their adolescent and a questionnaire that took approximately 1 hour for the children to complete concerning their relationship with their parent. Families who had not returned their questionnaires within 10 days were called to remind them. Researchers also reviewed the medical charts of all 94 adolescents who were initially requested to take part in the research, to obtain the number of blood sugar tests per day that they completed, and their metabolic control levels. Demographic data of the families who refused to consent to take part was also obtained. Results: the demographic characteristics were similar for all three groups: participants who completed the study, those who did not return the questionnaires, non-returners, and those who did not consent to take part, non-consenters. The adolescents of the families who failed to return their questionnaires tested their blood sugar levels significantly less frequently than those of families who returned the questionnaire, or who did not consent to take part. Adolescents of the families who did not return their questionnaires also had significantly lower rates of adherence to their treatment than those of families who returned their questionnaires. Conclusion: lower adherence to the treatment regime by adolescents is associated with lower participation in adherence studies by adolescents and their families. Evaluating Riekert and Droter, one strength is that the study used a number of methods in order to ensure levels of adherence were measured accurately. For example, the adolescents completed a clinical interview and the parents completed a demographics questionnaire. Metabolic rate and use of blood sugar equipment was also measured. This is a strength as the results of the study are not reliant on one method alone. Each method has its own weaknesses, so using more than one minimizes these weaknesses and increases the validity of the research. A weakness is that the sample was only taken from one clinic and was based upon one type of illness, diabetes. Also, there were a number of potential participants who were asked to take part, but who did not consent to take part in the study. It may well be that there is something particular about this type of illness or the people that wanted to take part in the study in the first place. That means that the results found would not be generalizable to the wider population or other illnesses. A strength of the study is that it has application to everyday life. For example, Riekert and Droter suggested that families who failed to complete the research tasks may have lacked planning and organizational skills, which could also have affected how adherent they were to the treatment plan. This may allow targeted interventions for those who do not take part, and ensure that a routine is established and understanding is high, which in turn will raise adherence.